All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakal divine apostles, others read Muslim, and salutations to the brothers who put in his word and truth and sincerity and charity, and risking the lives and friends to do so. Everybody on the guy coming from Great Millstone, Chicago Camp, coming at you with another lesson. Lord, edifying. Quick scripture today, you know, uh, you see a lot of these team takeovers, all these gatherings, all over the city, especially out here in Chicago, and you see it now spreading, you know, in Indianapolis, Texas, all over the damn place. All right, a scripture that came to mind because something it always turns out sour. These kids don't come, and they ain't acting like fucking kids, they're little demons. All right, and they come on a mission, you know, to be on straight bullshit, high on drugs, pistol packing, just full of fucking anger, man. You know, just waiting for it to spaz out and crash out on somebody. All right. I remember being a kid, or what you always tell me, you see a crowd across the street, don't walk through that crowd, you know, avoid them as much as possible. And it shows you in a lot of movies, people walking through crowds, the motherfuckers getting picked on, robbed, harassed, you know, assaulted, all types of shit. That shit really does happen. You know, it's not being a coward. It's just being wise and using that wisdom, you know, and we have to apply it. And nothing cowardly about it, you know. Um, it can be very prideful, just walking through that shit, thinking that nothing's gonna, untouchable. The Lord will humble your ass down. But those gatherings, those team gatherings, there's been a lot of, after every gathering, there's always someone left dead, multiple people shot. There's been shootings, And I thought of this scripture right here, which inspired this scripture today. You know, um, it's not being a coward, man. All right, avoid that crowd and redeeming the time because the days are evil. That's what the scripture says, man. Walking circumspectly. All right. This Sirach 9. Let me just start at 11. The point is at 13. It says, envy not the glory of a sinner, for thou knowest not what shall be his end. Delight not in the thing that the ungodly have pleasure in, for remember they shall not go unpunished into the grave. Keep thee far from the man that hath power to kill, so shalt thou not doubt the fear of death. And if thou come unto him, make no fault, lest he take away thy life presently. Remember that thou goest in the midst of snares, and that thou walkest upon the battlements of the city. All right? And it's not being a coward, it's using wisdom. The scripture talks about live peaceably with all men. And sometimes living peaceably with all men is avoiding them. All right? Avoiding those altercations, avoiding those gatherings. All right? Jake, any brother in GMS, prophet, we ain't gonna be in those gatherings. Men of the Lord ain't gonna be out there, you know, in those gatherings, man. Jake might have come across it, on the way to work, on the way home from work or walking their dogs, or because these things all over the damn place. Mainly in East South neighborhood. And where did Jake work at? He's downtown, East South neighborhood. All right, but I myself have encountered some small gatherings and avoid them. Straight avoid them. And go the long way. Take a detour. You know, it's just applying wisdom. It's not being a coward. Hey, we gotta walk circumspectly, redeeming the time because the days are evil and it's just gonna get worse. All right, it's just gonna get worse. So I'm gonna read it again. Sirach 9:11. Envy not the glory of the sinner, for thou knowest not what shall be his end. Delight not in the thing that the ungodly have pleasure in. But remember, they shall not go unpunished unto the grave. Keep thee far from the man that hath power to kill. So shalt thou not doubt the fear of death, and if thou come unto him, make no fault, lest he take away thy life presently. Remember that thou goest in the midst of snares, and that thou walkest upon the battlements of the city. All right. So it's applying wisdom. All right. So go on to edifying scripture today until next time. So shalom and a Bible bump.